Hey everyone, I got another video here for you to help you with your side hustles. So this one is on some of the eBay scams to avoid. They've personally happened to me. So just a quick little backstory. I've been selling on eBay for about 13 years. So as you know, I know a lot about it, right? It's changed a lot. Like when I first started, the payments were through PayPal. It was like a whole thing. Right now it's a lot more smoother. Payments go directly to your bank account. Everything is pretty smooth now, but the scams are still around. So just be careful with some of the scams that I'm gonna be talking about today. So the first one is on just anything that you sell of value. Have some sort of insurance. Like give yourself a number. Like after this amount, if the item is worth X amount or more, I'm gonna buy insurance through the carrier, like USPS insurance. My number is $200. Your number can be completely different, right? It could be less than that. It could be more than that. You kind of have to figure out when you're gonna self-insure and when you're gonna buy insurance. For me, I feel like $200 is kind of that breaking point. Like if it's below that, okay, it's a hit, but I'm willing to kind of self-insure. Basically, you pay for the damages, right? And if it's more than $200 at that point, that's where I start, it kind of hurts me, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably get this insured. So just a little bit of like what I sell jewelry. So my mom, the reason why I started doing this is because she's a jeweler herself. She sells jewelry for a living, and a contact that she has buys a lot of like old scrap silver. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll review that silver and I'll pick out things that I like to resell on eBay. So like just like little pendants and rings and necklaces and things like that. Most of the jewelry that I sell is silver. There's some gold pieces in there, so the value can definitely go up. But anyway, scam number one that's happened to me a few times already is where people claim they have not received their item. Like even after it says delivered, they say, hey, I didn't get the item. And one time they actually got me because I didn't have any insurance whatsoever. And even after I opened up a claim with USPS, because it said delivered, they kind of like cleaned their hands, basically said, hey, we can't cover this. Like, we delivered the package, here's the tracking to prove it. The client was telling a different story, saying that they did not receive the package. So you kind of have to figure it out with the client and eBay. So basically, at that point, everybody kind of just doesn't want to cover you. You kind of just have to take the cost or the hit of the expense. I knew for a fact it was delivered because the client reached out almost immediately after it was delivered. Like when it was marked delivered, the client reached out. I think that was their mistake. Or a mistake that tells me that yes, in fact, it was delivered. Because what are the chances of someone looking at the tracking information, and then the moment they see that tracking updated, they check their door and it's not there? I don't know. It just felt off to me, the way she was communicating with me, or how they were communicating with me. They also, like, in their message, they were like, well, I see that you don't have insurance for this package, and like it was just like too much, right? Too much information. More than I'm almost like 90% or like 100% sure that they received the package, and essentially they didn't want to be honest about it. So that's a scam that's happened to me a few times already. Just watch out for that. Like I said, find a good, a good breaking point. Anything more than that value, $200, $100, whatever, get insurance. Even with insurance, it can be challenging. Like one time, I sold a bracelet. It was like $100 or $1,000. That's what it was sold for. Yeah, 1,400, something like that. The bracelet was in fact lost because the tracking did not update after like a few days. So the client reached out. Obviously, the tracking was not there to prove that it was delivered, and they opened up a claim that the item was never delivered. I would have done the same thing. So yeah, like a few weeks passed. I just kind of gave it some time to see if the tracking would just magically appear and like, or the bracelet would magically be delivered. It never did. I gave it like maybe like a month. I kind of just dragged the process for like a month, and it was never delivered. So I opened up the case. Luckily for that one, I did have insurance. It was above my $200 mark, so I bought insurance. And I opened up the case with USPS. I kind of sent, the information, tracking, everything that I had. My first case, they closed. Basically, they said, hey, like, you need to prove that you purchased the item. So they wanted like some sort of receipt, or they wanted proof of value. That's what it was. They wanted some sort of proof that the bracelet was worth $1,400. Even though it was insured for $1,400, they wanted to ensure that the bracelet was worth it. So I respond with the eBay listing. I'm like, hey, well, this bracelet sold for $1,400. That's proof of value, right? Someone bought it for this amount. And they declined that one too. They're like, we need like a receipt that shows you paid that amount, or somewhere around that amount. So I'm like, wait, a receipt? Even though I have it insured, even though it's sold for this amount, what do you mean a receipt? So I basically respond back to that case, and I tell them, hey, well, I don't have a receipt for this item right now. I basically just, I've had this for a while. I don't have a receipt. I told them I paid like X amount cash a while back, and they returned that one to you, basically saying, hey, we're not going to be able to cover your bracelet unless you have a receipt. So I had to go back to the jeweler that I do business with. I requested an invoice, and basically we just like write down like, hey, this person paid me this amount in X date, and I get a copy of that paper, and I copy it, send it over to USPS again, and finally, after the fourth try, I think that was my last try, by the way. After that, they were going to officially close the case. The fourth one, they finally accept. So my point is, these scams, like eBay will try to protect the buyer over the seller, like always. So if you don't have insurance and they're claiming that the product was not delivered, you're most likely going to lose that. You're probably not going to get your money. Obviously, there's some rare situations where maybe the client or the person who bought it from you has a history of doing this that might benefit you. But as you can see, even with insurance, like, it can be hard to get your money back. So just be careful. Just be careful. Get insurance when needed, and just watch out for that scam there. The second one, and I'll make this one quick, I don't want to take up too much of your time. The second scam that I've ran into over the years is where this was on me. I sold some Xbox Live cards. This probably won't even apply anymore because Xbox Live cards is an older thing, but I sold them, and then the buyer requested them, so I don't have to ship the cards. They requested the number through Messenger. So I sent them the number after they paid. I sent them the number of the cards. They used them, and after that, they claimed they requested like a return, or they claimed that I never sent the product. I forget which one of the two it was, but I was kind of, I lost out on the money and the cards because the cards were already redeemed, and I had to essentially refund them because I never, sent out the items, or I forget if they asked for a refund. I don't remember what the situation exactly was, so watch out for that scam. I learned my lesson the hard way. Now that I think about it, it's like, I shouldn't have never done that. But yeah, those are kind of the main scams that I've gone through. I've heard of others that haven't really necessarily happened to me, but another one is where you send something and they return it. Obviously, like let's say you send an Xbox 360 and it works. They claim it doesn't work, and they potentially send you something different back. So just watch out for that one. What I would say is take really good pictures of anything you're selling. That way, when you ship something, you know exactly what it is, right? When it comes back, like it might have a scuff here, it might have some marks over here. Like, hey, this is a different product, and I can prove it with the pictures. All right, so take care, everyone. Those are some of the scams that I've experienced in my lifetime with eBay. So have fun with it. Talk to you in the next one. Bye.